The number one question that people ask me that they hear pros talking about all the time is, how do I actually practice in Smash Ultimate? And how do I become better other than, of course, just grinding the game for a lot of hours? What else can I do to help myself improve and to understand the game better? Today I want to talk to you guys about that, talk about how I personally like to practice, how I like to learn more about the game, and what you can do as well in order to lab up a little bit and improve your Smash Ultimate game. With that said, let's get started. So of course, there are many different things you want to focus on when trying to practice, when trying to improve, but I think one of the first things that you actually have to put a lot of time into that a lot of people don't is actually just simply put going into the training mode and getting used to how your character actually feels and being able to use that character effectively just movement-wise. A lot of the times we go into games and we think, how can I outsmart my opponent? How can I outspace my opponent? How can I do this or do that? But we don't really think, am I actually controlling my own personal character to the best of my possible abilities? Is that actually holding me back? And I think in a lot of cases, it kind of is. In a lot of cases, you'll be going for a short hop and you get a full hop. In a lot of cases, you're going to be going for a very small dash dance. Instead, you get a very long one, or you even just want to walk, but you get a run. There's a lot of missed inputs you can do that honestly, you can kind of avoid by just simply going to the practice mode and training on these exact inputs and making the muscle memory instead of things you have to really focus on. Now, recently I've seen an Izov video about this that I'd really recommend that's going to be at the top right of the screen right now. And as you can see, he recommends essentially a few main ways you can practice improving on this. One of those is to practice short hopping, and then learn how to short hop and then use a fast fall, and then learn how to do that, short hop, nair, and then fast fall, and then continue from there. Then maybe learn exactly how to dash dance, exactly how far your character can dash dance, get used to your character's airspeed. All of that will help you so much. If you can understand how your exact character works, you'll be able to just apply them a lot better in your game, and be very consistent with that character. Spending a lot of time on a character in a non-combat zone can just give you a better feel for how they work and will be a lot less stressful than when you're in an actual game and you're just trying to hit every single attack you possibly can. And I also want to mention right here that if you are practicing movement, make sure to do it pretty consistently. Maybe every other day you practice movement for about 10 minutes. You could watch a YouTube video, you could watch a podcast, really whatever, but practice that movement, get used to it, and just keep it in your hands. If you practice movement maybe once a week for 60 minutes, that's gonna be a lot less effective than practicing for 30 minutes, 3 times a week. It really is just about putting in a lot of time, really just getting used to your character. And this is one of those things that sounds very basic, but I'm gonna say the vast majority of people don't put any time into, and if you do, you will start feeling your character a lot better and start being a lot more precise in every single movement if you do put in the time. A second way to get better, and probably I guess a more glorious way to improve, faster in other people's eyes, is going to be learning exactly how to do combos. And I know in a lot of cases people are thinking to themselves, I want to do combos, they look really cool, but I don't exactly know where to start, and I can't really just get into the training mode and just start spamming around with my attacks because I don't know exactly how they work, so, I'll just get into games and hope that the combos kind of flow themselves. And while that can happen, I feel like a much more effective way to, just simply learn combos is to go up online, go into either, a Discord, go into Twitter, look up your character's name, or mainly go into YouTube and search up your character's name, let's say Greninja, combos, or combo guide. From there, there's going to be probably a 4 to 5 minute long video showing off exactly what combos your character has. And of course, at first glance, you're going to watch that and say, hey, okay, that's pretty cool. I guess I'll move on. But instead of just moving on after seeing that video, actually put some time into trying to do those exact same combos. Go into the training mode on your Switch, watch one combo, and then try to replicate that. A lot of the times you won't be able to do it the first time, but maybe after the 3rd or 4th or even 17th try, you'll eventually be able to get it. And once you get it, you can move on, and then move on, and then move on. And then eventually, after you've gotten down all those combos in that video, you can think to yourself, hey, now I know the basic structure of how combos work. And while yes, you won't be able to use every single one of those combos in all your games, now you kind of understand how your character combos, how they string certain moves into other moves, and that'll save you a lot of time. That'll kind of give you the basics of this in your character, in your mind. And while you definitely shouldn't always be using these, if you can actually get a few combos down that then can lead into other strings that you figure out later, yeah, that's going to help you a ton when getting better at this game. On to the third way to practice. Now that you've already figured out how other people are doing combos, you can actually put some time to the lab yourself and try to figure out your own combos. Now, a lot of the time, the only way to actually figure out your own combos is just to, get into the lab, start using different moves, and see what moves connect into each other. And that's really as simple as it goes. Now, why I definitely recommend to do this after watching other people's videos already showing off combos is because you will already have a pretty basic understanding of how characters' combos work. But at that point, you're going to kind of wonder to yourself, hey, okay, Roy's nair follows up into a forward air. Could it possibly follow up into an up air instead that can lead into something else? Or possibly follow up into an up air up B, or maybe possibly follow up into a nair again into a side B. or possibly do this, or possibly do that, and you can really start using the fundamentals of the combos that you already know and actually stringing those into new combos. Speaking of strings as well, a lot of the times when you're in the training mode, you'll find things that aren't exactly true combos, but that'll be very hard for your opponent to get out of. And those are also really good. I know a lot of situations you want to learn just the true combos that will always work, that will always get you that damage, and while those are nice to know, it is of course great to also know the things that will give you actually more potential percent if your opponent messes up. Because if we're going to be honest, a lot of people will eventually mess up. Knowing the strings that will get your opponent above you instead of just simply getting you a little bit more damage, those can be really nice. Knowing the strings that can lead into hitting your opponent on the ground, knocking them down, having your opponent miss the tech, and then allowing you to actually tech chase, side B, F smash or something like that, that can be perfect as well. There's a lot of different things you can do by just putting time into this training mode by yourself, looking at these combos by yourself, and using your previous knowledge from other people's combos to your own that will be worth your time. And while, yeah, you don't really have to put in a billion hours doing this, just kind of learning how your moves interact and how they combo together and trying to use your own imagination to do this on a lot of different characters, on a lot of different stages, on a lot of different weights, that can help you understand the game a ton, and that can make so that your main goes from just a character that you kind of know how to play that's all right to a character that you can get really good combos or really good strings out of every single time you get a hit. Moving on to the fourth thing that I think is also extremely important, that kind of leads off the last point, it's to not simply just know all of your moves that combo and know how they combo into each other, but learn in general what each of your moves do. Now, I think you guys will, for the most part, kind of know what each of your moves do as a very general sense. Like, let's say with the Wolf neutral air, that's kind of my get off me move. And a Wolf forward air, that's kind of my move that I can use to engage or get some combos into back air with. And you'll probably know stuff like that. But in a lot of cases, it's actually worth putting the time into figuring out every single little thing that every single move can do. Now, this is of course going to be very specific on your character, and really the only way you're going to be able to figure this out is by, trying to knock people down and hit them with your move, by sending them above you and hitting them with your move, by spacing and hitting them with your move, and really just trying out every single thing that your move can possibly do. Now, this will take quite a bit of time, but I'll give you an exact example of how useful this can be. For a character like Roy, I've been trying to figure out exactly what his forward air can do, because in a lot of cases I was using it, I was like, hey, I'm hitting this move, but I'm not really getting way too much reward out of it. So what can I do to improve that reward to figure out how it works more? So I put it into the lab, hit people with a sweet spot forward air, and actually figured out that even around like 10%, if the opponent is on the ground and I hit them with a forward air, well, it actually will knock them down. At that stage, I'm like, oh, okay, that's really cool. I didn't know that. So now whenever I get that forward air, I get that knockdown, and I know that it is coming, I know exactly how to use it, and I wouldn't have known that otherwise. Now, as well, since I know that the forward air does that, I can think to myself, hey, what's going to actually lead off of this forward air? And I could try a lot of different moves, like forward smash when they're on the ground, forward tilt, down tilt, whatever, and eventually I figured out that doing jab or side B1 into side B1, 2, 3, 4 is the best way to get damage and the best way to kill with it. So there we go, I figured that all out. And I really just figured that out by putting a lot of time into the lab, figuring out exactly what my move can do, figuring out what the sweet spot and the sour spot does. And while some characters won't need to be, essentially in the lab for as long because their moves has some very specific things that they mostly do for the most part, just trying out every single attack and seeing how it interacts with a lightweight, a medium weight, and a heavyweight, and as well how it can beat or lose against other attacks, that can be extremely useful for yourself and make sure that nothing is really a surprise when using this character in an actual competitive game. The final thing I wanted to mention here, and definitely the most tedious thing, but also the thing that I think gives you some of the best information, that is also pretty easy to do exactly, but just takes a lot of time, is figuring out how safe your moves are and how you can space different moves for different results. Now, I think this is really easy to do in Smash Ultimate compared to previous games, because in previous games, a lot of the times you just have to throw out an aerial, hit your opponent's shield, and then see kind of what would happen in an actual game, and it was really hard to do in training mode. In Smash Ultimate, however, it's actually a lot easier now. Sure, you still can get it from actual games, but in a lot of cases you can figure out what moves are safe on different attacks or safe on shield at different spacings simply by going to the training mode and setting the training mode to L moves forward the frame by 1. Now what this does, it lets you actually stand on the training platform, which has the different, units that tell you exactly how far away you are, jump straight up, use your aerial, fall, hit the opponent's shield, and then see what happens. See when your opponent, lets go of their shield and presses A, if you can beat that out with one of your own attacks. See if your opponent, jumping out of their shield by pressing X and A will hit you when you're attacking, or if it will just miss straight over you, and if you can punish that. See if your opponent can just roll straight out of your pressure, and you maybe could follow up on that pressure as well. This is one of those things that a lot of cases you just won't know exactly what your move can do unless you put in a little bit of time and figure it out. In a lot of cases you could think that maybe one of your moves is safe on shield when you space really close, but really you have to space quite far away against your opponent in order for it to work. And the only way to figure this out is by putting in the grueling effort and learning it face-on, hands-on. Now, I want to keep in mind right here that, of course, you will not definitely try this on every single character in the game. That's just honestly asking way too much. But trying it on a few characters that are probably the majority of the character base and act like most characters, or have the best options out of shield, are probably some of the best things to do. Trying it on like characters like Bowser for a really big heavyweight, trying it on a character like Wolf for medium weight, and then let's say trying it on a character like Kirby for a lightweight. See what moves they can use to beat out yours, see how you can just barely outspace them with your attacks, see how you could possibly just barely get over their shield and cross them up as well, and see how all this spacing works together. Again, the only way you can really do this is by putting your time into the lab, figuring out exactly how that spacing works, and then once you know how it works, actually practice that spacing. Learn that sometimes maybe going a little bit too close is going to get you grabbed, and going a little bit too far is going to make so that you can't apply any pressure afterwards, so you have to be right in the middle. And of course, once you know that, and once you already have your movement down from the first step, you can apply those both together, you can create safe offensive pressure or defensive pressure, and there you go. Now you've gotten a much better kit, you're being able to play your character a lot better, and just be a lot more effective in your games. And there you guys go. Those are the 5 ways that I think a lot of pros have been practicing this game or figuring out things about their character that the vast majority of just regular players aren't really doing way too much. Now, if you're a person that just wants to get better at the game quick, I'd honestly say that you can do a lot of these steps and just not do them for way too long. Just learn kind of the basics of your character, just learn the basics of exactly how to control yourself, the basics of most of your moves, and don't go way too in depth. But you can still improve really, really quick by just doing that. It'll essentially just apply to you making better choices in your games and playing better overall. But anyways, that's all just my own opinion. If you guys have your own, please leave that down in the comment section down below and tell me how you personally practice in Smash Ultimate. As always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Please leave a like because this video is probably going to do pretty bad because not too many people look up how to practice. But, whatever. Thanks for your time. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. And as always, guys, jump on the screen right now is a playlist for more Smash Ultimate videos like this. And have a smashing day.